How would you like a 15% discount to my daily email, the stack of stuff, the show notes, discounts to the conference, all of that? All you need to do is text the word show to 33777. You'll get the annual subscription with a 15% discount to my daily email. You'll get the stack of stuff, the links to the show notes, discounts to the conference, and so much more. All you have to do is text the word show, SHOW, to 33777. Text show to 33777.
Welcome to the Eric Erickson Show podcast, Hour 2.
I have breaking news. Welcome. It's Eric Erickson here. This is significant breaking news before we get into anything else. Axios is confirming it. Others are now confirming it as well. Marco Rubio has informed our G7 partners, that are the world's 7 largest economies, that he expects this war in Iran to continue for 2 to 4 more weeks and expects the United States to continue to meet its objectives in Iran. That's happening right now. Marco Rubio has informed our G7 allies, according to multiple sources, that we are continuing to talk to the Iranians through intermediaries. We are not talking to the Iranians directly, and that he believes that this war will continue for 2 to 4 more weeks, that we can finish our objectives. Also, I can tell you separately from that report, the Saudis have been assured by the United States that they are not going to leave Saudi Arabia in disarray. With a destabilized Iran, the United States does intend to try to settle the situation in Iran. Does that mean regime change? No, but there's growing speculation. The United States and Israel do believe they might be able to accomplish some level of regime change in Iran. How? If they continue the war for 2 to 4 more weeks, as Marco Rubio says, continuing to wind down the Iranian operations, we already know that members of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps are starting to flee. They are not getting paid. They are turning on each other. The government is in disarray. And Admiral Cooper, who's in charge of the operation, continues to tell Iranian citizens, do not take to the streets yet. Yet being the key word here. There does appear to be in place the incentive for the Iranian people to go into the streets to protest, and some of them have been armed by the United States and Israel. It's going to be a rude awakening for the Iranian government when they realize that their citizens actually have the guns they don't think their citizens have. This is happening now. Marco Rubio assuring the G7 the war will go on for 2 to 4 weeks. We are meeting with the Iranians through intermediaries, and we do expect to be able to meet our objectives in Iran. That's pretty significant. Pretty significant because it's so diametrically opposed to what you are hearing in the National Press Corps. What you're hearing in the National Press Corps is essentially that everybody's unhappy with the progress and we're not hitting our objectives. The fact that Marco Rubio is telling European allies, G7 leaders, that includes Japan, etc., that he has that we're going to do this war for up to 4 more weeks is reassuring to both the Israelis and to the Saudis, both of whom were very nervous that the president might throw in the towel. Now, let me see if I can find this piece. Noah Rothman made this point, and it's a very good point. He writes for National Review, essentially pointing out that a lot of what we're hearing in the press, if you actually pay attention to what the military leaders are saying, they largely directly contradict themselves. So, for example, some of J.D. Vance's allies are trying to reassure us in some capacity that we're upset with the Israelis for not meeting their goals of destabilizing the regime. What is so interesting about this is that we've been telling the Iranian people not to take to the streets. So there is the story that has been circulated. Let me find this piece. Noah Rothman had linked to it on Twitter earlier. The Wall Street Journal had run this piece. And Barack Ravid and Mark Caputo have gotten it. Let me just read you this paragraph. According to sources in Vance's orbit, who gave Axios reporters Barack Ravid and Mark Caputo an earful, the VP is ready to play his part if negotiations with representatives of the Islamic Republic ripen, but he's not at all pleased to be in that position in the first place. Indeed, Vance is reportedly viscerally frustrated with America's ally in this war, Israel, for bamboozling the president into what he was gulled into believing would be a quick and triumphant war. During a difficult call on Monday with Benjamin Netanyahu, it's Axios, not the Wall Street Journal, Vance is said to have lashed out at the Israeli prime minister over the vice president's people insist were his rosy predictions about how the war would progress. Before the war, Bibi really sold it to the president as being easy, as regime change being a lot likelier than it was, Axios' U.S. source said, and the VP was clear-eyed about some of those statements, the source continued, presumably unlike the president or his key subordinates, hint, hint, Marco Rubio. In addition, Axios' well-placed source is fit to be tied over reporting earlier this week when alleged that the surviving representatives of the Islamic Republic would prefer to deal with Vance over any other administration official, operating under the assumption he's less inclined to support the war. Vance and his allies give observers that impression at every available opportunity. After all, still, the source insists that the allegation is the result of a hostile Israeli intelligence operation targeting the vice president. Now, here's what you need to know. In all seriousness here, the would-be Shah of Iran, the Crown Prince, Reza Pahlavi, has been telling the Iranian people, do not go into the streets yet. Admiral Cooper, the head of CENTCOM, who's in charge of the war effort, has been telling the Iranian people, do not go in the street yet. Benjamin Netanyahu, the prime minister of Israel, has been telling the Iranian people, do not go into the street yet. As I continue to follow this campaign, I continue to read this relentless negativity in the media about the campaign, the direction of the war, where it's all headed, what it all means, and how we're going to lose. And I would just note that when we got into this thing, we're not even 4 weeks completely into it, and the president said it would take 5 to 6 weeks. We're headed into the 5th and 6th week. Marco Rubio is telling our G7 allies it's going to last for 2 to 4 more weeks. The Israelis believe that we're actually on schedule to be able to destabilize the government. The Saudis now apparently are less concerned that we're going to walk out on the Saudis before we've destabilized the government. It appears that things are going well. As I said in the last hour, however, there are a lot of people who are very much invested in the idea that it not go well. The international elite who hate Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu and the isolationist right cannot have this war succeed. My real fear here is that Congress is going to block further funding for the Pentagon and leave our troops in harm's way, unable to mount the campaign further. That's my real fear here. My genuine fear is that Congress screws this up. It's one of the reasons the president's team has not wanted to go to Congress. Let me explain to you what has happened behind the scenes. The president's team briefed Congress. They did not give congressmen a lot of details. Democrat and Republican congressmen then came out and said they were very frustrated and this looked like there was no plan. Democrats in particular came out screaming about it, along with Nancy Mace, who came out and said, we're going to war, we're sending troops to Iran. Hey, Iranians, we're sending troops. Iran, I need you to know we're sending troops. Nancy Mace putting our soldiers' lives on the line by coming out of a classified briefing saying, hey, we're sending troops. It sure sounds like we're sending troops. Iran, it sounds like we're sending troops. Nancy Mace, who wants to be governor of South Carolina, came out and did that. It's why Congress is not getting information. It's why the president is not willing to engage further. It's why the president of the United States doesn't want Congress to know what's going on. They can't keep secrets. They are undermining themselves. They can't be trusted. The press can't be trusted. And frankly, there are people inside the Trump administration who can't be trusted. We have seen inside the Trump administration an effort to sabotage the war effort. We've seen this. There are people inside the Trump administration who want us not to win this war because they have staked their entire reputation on withdrawing America from all of the world except the Western Hemisphere. And if we have a robust American leadership campaign that actually works in the world, bringing peace to the Middle East, destabilizing Iran, and setting up a new regime in Iran that is not hostile to the United States, well, that shows that America can be a force for good in the world, and it shows that American military is second to none, and it shows that our leadership on the world stage can actually do things, and we might be encouraged to do more things. We're like, oh, we can't do that. No. Monroe Doctrine, Trump no doctrine, Donroe Doctrine. We need a wall around the Western Hemisphere. Stay out of, pull our troops out of everything. Pull our troops out of Europe. Pull our troops out of Asia. Pull our troops out of Africa. Get out of the Middle East. Bring everybody home. No, we can't win. La, 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 la. Don't tell me we've won. That's the isolationist right now. The international elite, God forbid Donald Trump wins. They're never going to admit it. By the way, so a buddy of mine, Drew, he texted me and he said, have you ever heard of this guy, Robert Pape? People are sending me nonsense from Robert Pape. Robert Pape is a guy at the University of Chicago, and Robert Pape tends to be wrong about everything. Just so you understand, Robert Pape believed that Hamas beat Israel. Robert Pape actually looked at what was happening after October 7th. So Hamas wins. Robert Pape wants us to believe that Iran is winning, and he's out there everywhere, and all the people who oppose the war effort are circulating that Robert Pape is we're winning, Iran is winning, we're losing. If you're listening to Robert Pape, you probably have no sense of what is actually happening. Iran, overnight, all of their steel production facilities were destroyed. Overnight, you heard me, all of their steel production was destroyed. In the last few hours, the replacement of the leader of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps was killed. Iran launched a missile that Iranian citizens through Starlink put online, and the Iranian missile launched and fell to earth and exploded. It wasn't AI. It was real. Time and time and time again, we are showing real and critical success. And that real and critical success is being lied about on social media. It's remarkable to me to watch the hatred from both the far left and far right. The rise of anti-Semitism that's tied to this, the belief that somehow Israel is Donald Trump's puppet master. Somebody, I did this charitable event last night. It was a wonderful time. Somebody said, what do you think about all these allegations that somehow the Israelis are puppet masters to Donald Trump? I said, this is the most remarkable thing, that people believe that Iran has the power to control the president of the United States, but can't control the media that the Jews supposedly have taken over, can't control the entertainment industry the Jews supposedly taken over. Apparently, the Jews can control everybody but the Jews. It's absolutely wild, the level of conspiratorial thinking out there blaming Israel for this stuff. Donald Trump, since 1980, has wanted to bomb the Iranians, and he's finally getting his way. Finally, he's been able to do what Donald Trump has wanted to do since 1980. Think about that. Since 1980. He hasn't changed. And yet, the left and the far-right isolationists, they're attacking Donald Trump because he's done what he's always wanted to do. And not only has he done what he's always wanted to do, he's quite successful at it. We have completely undermined the Iranian regime. We are not yet at a time for the Iranian regime to take to the streets or to be taken from the streets. But we're getting very, very close to a time that the Iranian people can take back their government. And isn't that what we want? We want the people of Iran who have been tortured and held hostage by this terrible regime to be able to take back that regime and take back that country and bring back some level of a democratic rule. They're wonderful people. It's appalling to me to watch the left and the far right in this country rooting against those people and rooting against the American military and convincing themselves we can't do anything. Y'all, we went in and took out the president of Venezuela in a 12-hour campaign. We took the leader of another country out of his country, despite that country being armed and trained by the Chinese, the Russians, and the Cubans. We were able to take him out. He is now in jail. And now we are wiping out the Iranian regime. We are destabilizing them, and we will take the Strait of Hormuz. Maybe by this weekend we'll take the Strait of Hormuz. I don't know. But the idea that you should bet against America is always a losing proposition. And right now, the people betting against America, they're the losers. Hello there, welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number, 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I am very happy to have you. I got to just briefly say, that organization, CPAC, the Conservative Political Action Conference, it's having its conference. Normally it used to be in D.C. It's now in Grapevine, Texas, for reasons I don't understand. And it used to be a very big deal. There are more people watching my live stream on Twitter right now than watching CPAC. And I am told it is a small crowd. And when the head of CPAC asked the crowd if they want to see impeachments, the crowd went wild. They said, no, wrong answer. I mean, impeachment of Donald Trump or some such. And do you want to see Donald Trump? And the crowd went wild. Donald Trump is not even going to CPAC. That is the death of an organization. There's so much corruption in the conservative movement now. There are so many people who wanted to advance themselves and not the ideas of the conservative movement. It is actually kind of reassuring to me, frankly, that that people have finally seen through what had become, and the organization maybe can be allowed to die, but it's the grift keeps grifting over time. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you about Vision Computers, because we have a computer from Vision Computers in our house, and I don't have to be my son's IT guy. He's got a gaming PC from Vision. We actually spent time with them. They asked him what he wanted. He built it up with them, and whenever he has a problem now, Vision Computer, he can call them, and in 15 seconds or less, he gets a real live human being on the phone, and they can help him. And 9 times out of 10, he's done something. But he had an issue a couple weeks ago. He needed to get an email account set up, and he was able to call them. He didn't quite understand what they were saying. They tried to navigate him. They're like, you know what? We got this. Remote it in, and they took care of it. They can do that for you, too. And you talk to real people. You can get someone on the phone in 15 seconds or less. That's faster than you can find the answer on Google. They can do it for your office as well. In fact, if you buy the computer from Vision, the tech support comes with the computer. Otherwise, it's like $199 a year for each computer. You can do this for your whole office. You don't need the in-house IT guy. Let Vision take care of it for you. Call them at 404-COMPUTE. Tell them Eric sent you. 404-COMPUTE or visioncomputers.com. Let your employees be really productive at their jobs. Let Vision take care of the computers. 404-COMPUTE or visioncomputers.com. Hello there. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. The open line Friday number 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I would be happy to have you. Do not forget that you can text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, and you can to 33777 get the live stream, the show notes, the podcast. I will be using my pizza oven this weekend. So I got a pizza oven, and I love my pizza oven, but it's messed up, and I had to get on the phone with the people this morning to see if they could diagnose it, and I got some things I got to try with it. But so I ordered some firewood from my friends at Cutting Edge, and I will use the wood burning fire feature of my pizza oven to make pizzas this weekend. My kids want pizzas. Y'all, I know none of you care about this, but just savor this moment with me, please. I have, for my entire life as a dad, wanted my kids to say, "Dad, will you make pizza?" Because when I was a kid, I loved to make homemade pizza, and I got better and better. And then I got kids, and they didn't like my homemade pizza, and it was crushing. And I have, over the years, I had a rock box, and I had the pizza stone in the oven, and I had the big green egg, and I've tried. And finally, I have perfected my pizza to the point that my kids would rather their father make them pizza than to take them to a pizza restaurant. And I feel a level of pride and accomplishment in my ability to make pizza for my family. And then my pizza oven broke. I was like, dang it. But that's okay. I can put wood in it and use the wood until I figure out the gas issue with the burner. So now, let me tell you, did you know that the United States brought a lot of gold back from Venezuela? If you read the Swiss America website, you would, SwissAmerica.com/Eric. You can go click on their news and views tab, and they bring you the latest. You get ahead of the news from a lot of your friends. SwissAmerica.com/ERICK. Go to Swiss America and read up their news and views tabs. Subscribe to their podcast on YouTube, Swiss America Trading on YouTube. Also get their Secret War on Cash report. If you go to SwissAmerica.com/Eric, you can fill out the form right there, SwissAmerica.com/Eric. You fill out the form, they send it to you. It takes less than 15 minutes to read, and it describes how the government is trying to control your purchasing. But stay ahead of the game. Stay more informed than your friends on gold and silver prices, the fluctuations, the things that are going to impact them. I had totally forgotten about the U.S. bringing back, it's like hundreds of millions of dollars, I think, of gold from Venezuela to store in the United States. Gold prices have been going wild. I've even bought gold coins from Swiss America, by the way. SwissAmerica.com/ERICK. Stay informed with Swiss America. Now, I want to take your phone calls, but I got to bring up something, and I want to do it now. There are some of our stations that run us live, and at 2 p.m. Eastern time, they shift into local programming. Can't fault them for that. Local programming is where it's at. You want your news, but I got to bring this up now, and it's very important to me to bring this up today. I want you to know that next Friday, as I mentioned yesterday, is Good Friday, and I do a program on Good Friday about Good Friday. I do not talk politics on Good Friday, because the most important event in human history deserves a day on radio about it. And I try not to spend a lot of time, although in the last week I probably have done more than I should on theology, but I want to make a point for you right now. I want to say this, and I want every single one of you to hear this. I want you to take heart in this as we head to Palm Sunday on Monday, or Palm Sunday, oh my good Lord, Palm Sunday this Sunday. This has been on my mind. I need to say it. I've said it a little bit earlier this week. This Sunday is Palm Sunday. For those of you who do not know, Palm Sunday celebrates the entry of Jesus of Nazareth into Jerusalem in the run-up to his crucifixion, where people laid palm branches down as he came on a white donkey into the city, and people recognized him as the Messiah. Less than 1 week later, these very same people who were heralding him as the coming of a king were jeering him on a cross and were yelling for the Romans to release Barabbas, a murderer. On a Sunday, they could say, "Here's the Lord," and on a Thursday to Friday morning, say, kill him, bring us the other guy." People turn on a dime. The behavior of people turns on a dime. You might think that you are on top of the world, and immediately the world turns upside down on you. Think about that. Here comes this guy into this city. People are laying palm branches down, treating him as if he is a king. And before the week is over, he'll be dead. We begin the Holy Week celebrations on Sunday. You have Holy Monday through Good Friday. When my daughter was little, she was very confused. She thought Black Friday was the day that Jesus died, and Good Friday was the day you went shopping after Thanksgiving. We had to explain to her, no, that was not the case. Still, one of the funniest things, one of the absolute funniest things is my kid thinking that Good Friday was the shopping day and Black Friday was the day Jesus died. Here's my point on bringing this up and why I want all of you, when my audience is largest, before people step away for local programming, to say this. The other day I mentioned anxiety and trying to tell you that everything's going to be okay. I have had so many people reach out to me thanking me for that, and that they needed the reminder and they needed the encouragement, because life sucks. Their life is not good. I was telling the guys last night at Heritage Prep in Atlanta, and I've told y'all this story. I can't tell exactly the way it went because there was some profanity involved. But I did a book signing at the Books A Million in Lawrenceville, Georgia, after my book Before You Wake came out back in 2017. My local radio station, WSB, held the book signing up there, did the book signing, and there's a guy who lingered. And whenever anybody like that lingers, like, all right, here's the crazy person. Well, he wanted to talk, and he wanted my undivided attention. He waited for everyone else to go through the line. He clearly had something to tell me. So I get through the line. The event is gone. People are over. He is still waiting. And I just look over and was like, all right, man, what's up? He came over and introduced himself. He told me this story. He said that he had gone out and got an engagement ring for his girlfriend. And he had a doctor's appointment. He had been having some issues. Went to the doctor, found out he had cancer. He had testicular cancer. Gotten the engagement ring, found out he had testicular cancer. Life felt shattered, and he thought, I'm going to go home. Here's my plan. I'm going to go home. They live together. I'm going to tell her I have cancer, and I'm going to give her the engagement ring and tell her I want to fight this cancer with her. So he went home to their apartment in Lawrenceville, Georgia. Walked in the door, and she had this weird look on her face, and he noticed that she had basically, while he had been gone for the day, been moving out of the apartment. And his heart sank. His stomach sank. And he said, I got something to tell you. She says, I need to tell you something. She was pregnant with his best friend's kid. And she was leaving him for his best friend. And he had been diagnosed with cancer. And he thought, first thought he said, I got my gun in my truck. So he went out to his truck. And he turned on the car. And he pulled out his gun. And I happened to be on the radio. And he heard me talking about in 2016, in the spring of 2016, I was given 24 hours to live. My lungs had been filling up with blood clots for some time. My blood oxygen level was falling below 80%. My family had to be called to come to Georgia because they didn't think I was going to make it through the night. And my wife, the very same day as I am being given 1 day to live, is getting a call from the Mayo Clinic in Arizona to tell her they are pretty sure she has an incurable form of lung cancer, which she does. So I'm on radio telling this story. And that guy tells me that he has heard this story. He's in his truck. He has his gun. His gun is loaded. And he thought, well, I can't really tell you exactly how he said it, but he thought, well, doggone, my life's not so bad after all. Me telling that story literally saved someone's life. I have met that guy. I've not kept up with him. I hope he's doing well. But literally, that guy told me that I had saved his life by telling the story. Here's what I want to tell you. The world is upside down. 2,000 years ago, a guy gets on a donkey, walks into a city, is heralded as some sort of savior, and before the end of the week, all the people who were cheering him on are jeering him, hoping he dies, and betray him in favor of an actual murderer, and he gets murdered on a cross, having done nothing wrong. And it looked really bleak, and guess what happened? God's got a plan. I know people who look at the world today and they say, this can't be part of God's plan. There's no way. God is up in heaven and he's crying about this stuff and can't believe we've done this. God's got a plan, y'all. In the Garden of Eden, they ate the apple and God tells the devil that Eve will have a child and that child will crush the serpent's head. And on the day that looked absolutely desperate and hopeless was the day the serpent's head got crushed. From the very beginning, he had a plan. So I want you to look at your life. I want you to look at what's going on. I want you to look at your anxiety about a war overseas. I want you to look at gas prices. I want you to look at your food bills. I want you to look at your struggles. I want you to look at your anxiety. I want you to look at your depression. And I want you to know there's a plan. And right now, it may suck. And you may not understand. You may think, God, how can you do this? And I want you to know it is a lie that God won't give you more than you can handle. It's an absolute lie. People tell themselves that. Oh, God, he'll never give you more than you can handle. Don't worry about it. That's a lie. I've heard preachers say that. That's a lie. It is a flat out lie that God won't give you more than you can handle. Because I tell you, he has given me at times more than I can handle. It is a lie. What's true is that he will never give you more than he can handle. He's never going to give you more than he can handle. We're headed into Holy Week. Palm Sunday on Sunday. This carpenter from Nazareth went into a city being cheered on by people who at the end of the week were saying, give us Barabbas instead. And he was nailed to a cross, tortured within an inch of his life. We have eyewitnesses. You know, he had brothers. And his brothers wouldn't even show up at his execution to comfort their mother. Wouldn't even show up. And he died. And if that was the end of the story, I would not be telling you the story. There would be no story to tell you, but something happened. It was all part of a plan, part of a multi-thousand-year plan. So when you look at what's happening right now in the world, don't let your heart be troubled. Don't be anxious. There's a plan. You may be given more than you can handle, but you're never going to be given more than he can handle. I don't know why things work the way they work right now, but I trust they all work out the way they're supposed to work out for a plan. Don't be anxious about what's happening in Iran. And when you get anxious about what's happening somewhere in events that you can't control, find the things you can control in your local community. Seek the welfare of your community. Go work at the local homeless shelter. Go work for the food bank. Go work for the soup kitchen. Go find yourself helping other people in need, because you'll find your use in helping other people. Everything's going to be okay. And if you don't believe me, understand the plan. At the dawn of creation, on the 8th day, we did what we weren't supposed to do as a people. And God said, I got a plan. And it took thousands and thousands of years and generations and generations and generations of people. And on the day the plan was perfected, it looked like it all fell apart on a cross. And then 3 days later, the whole story changed. There's a plan. You're not in charge. When you stop trying to be in charge, you start having a little bit of peace. Everything's going to be okay. Palm Sunday is coming this Sunday, and Easter's coming after that. You're going to be okay. Greetings and welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. It is an open line Friday, 877-973-7425. Have a little bit of news that I need to bring you up to speed on happening right now. As I have mentioned, the Speaker of the House's team has let me know the Republicans in the House have rejected the Senate plan to reopen TSA. What the Senate compromise is do nothing, pay the TSA agents, don't add extra funding for ICE and Border Patrol, but no reform to ICE and Border Patrol. What the House plan is now going to be is a 60-day short-term continuing resolution to allow negotiations to continue on CPB and Border Patrol and ICE, pay the TSA agents. The Senate, however, this is the news, the Senate has left the building. The senators have gone home. John Thune has exited Washington, D.C. for the Dakotas. And they're trying to jam this through the House, and the House says no deal, no dice. Senate, come back. And so we will see the government shutdown is going to continue unless, however, the president has found a way to pay TSA agents. The White House is announcing a plan to pay TSA agents. They have not made the details known. It appears from what reporters are being told, the White House is going to declare an emergency because there is a rumor afoot that the Transportation Safety Administration Union is urging all TSA officers to not show up for work tomorrow. So the president will declare an emergency to pay the TSA agents. But it looks like we're on the verge of a massive walkout nationwide by TSA agents, which would ground airports to a halt. No airlines would be able to take off if the TSA agents walk out, unless ICE and National Guard agents take over the duties. National Guard agents could potentially be able to do it, but they're not fully trained the way TSA agents are on the scanners. This is the situation. This is the state of play. The President of the United States trying to find a way to pay TSA agents, the Senate deciding that they will pay them with no reform deal, and the House saying that's not going to work. We want a continuing resolution to fund everything the way it's always been funded. We will see if the Democrats in the House and the Democrats in the Senate go along with that. Clean resolution from the House seems to be on play for 60 days. As more details come about, I will bring you more details. This is an ongoing situation. The House representatives now trying to get senators to come back to Washington to take a vote. The Senate does not appear like it wants to come back to Washington, which means it's going to continue this shutdown. I just feel bad for the TSA agents being held hostage by the Democrats who want no deportations. Wow. Let me tell you about my bank, Old Glory Bank. They can be your bank. I want to praise them again for their charitable work, because they have really been working to get bank accounts for homeless veterans. Why? Did you know? I did not know this. There are a large number of I knew a large amount of the homeless population are veterans who have fallen through the cracks and whatnot. They have benefits and pensions, and they can't be paid because they don't know where to find these people, or they don't have checking accounts in which to wire the money. So Old Glory Bank has been working with volunteer groups around the country and charities to get bank accounts for homeless veterans. It's one of the things they do. They've got a heart for service. They're really good people, and they would love for you to bank with them as well. I have a checking and a savings account with Old Glory Bank. It's very easy to get. You go to oldglorybank.com/Eric and you sign up today. If you're a business, they're an online bank, but they're very hands-on with you. You can even deposit cash at Old Glory Bank. They make it very easy for businesses to bank with them, and they build up a relationship. So when your lending time comes, they already know you and know your business. oldglorybank.com/Eric. oldglorybank.com/ERICK. Sign up with Old Glory Bank today. Your kids, if they need a custodial account, great company to get a kid's custodial account with. oldglorybank.com/Eric. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender. Terms and conditions apply.